And this is pretty much the essence on how to make a vocal sound similar to a reference. Hey, what's up? This is Laidback Luke, DJ and producer. And today we're gonna talk about 4 essential producer questions that I'm gonna answer. Okay, we're right here with my previous youngest son. He's not anymore because he's in New York because of the birth of my new son. Wow, my 3rd son, little baby boy. But my previous baby boy has been producing for about 2 years now, and I figured this would be the opportunity to make a vlog about questions that he wanted to ask me about producing. So here we go, 4 essential producer questions from producers that are coming up.
How do you make sure a vocal sounds right?
Oh yeah, this is tough. This is hard, even for me, this is tough. But let's have a look at this right now. Alright, we're right here in Ableton, where I have my new track that is out right now, Late Night, featuring Isabel Usher, out right now. And we're gonna match her vocals with a track that I've already done. What the strategy is here, take a track where you think the vocal sounds awesome, like a finished product, a finished track, or a professional track. Take that one track and put it in your arrangement. And so this one, Paradox, my collab with Paradox, Keep On Rocking. I really like the master of this. And this vocal, I know by playing it out, sits right in the mix. And we're just gonna compare the two because I want my vocal to sit in the mix just like that. So let's listen to the track. It's this track.
Don't be slow, up and down, right below. Keep on rocking in the sun, up and down, right below.
All right, and we have my track. So the first thing you'll hear, especially when you didn't master your track yet, is that there's a difference in volume, master volume, right? So what I want you to do from that master track is just to take away volume so that it matches the volume of the track you're working on. So now they're about the same volume, right?
Yes.
Just the track overall, not even the vocal. So the first thing you want to do right now is to actually match the volume of your vocal with how the volume sits in your reference track. So let's do that. Let's listen now to this vocal. And listen to our vocal. So she's a bit louder in the mix here. So I want to turn her down a little bit. And turn her up a little bit, just by comparing, right? Okay, so when you have the volume set, now you can go ahead and try and EQ it similarly. I like taking my my SSL EQ, but you can just grab any EQ that you want. Now the track I'm working on. And then maybe just a little less mid frequency. Let's see how that sits. So now you know that if I would play this out now, it would sit as right in the mix as my reference track. Now obviously what I've already done here is I've compressed the vocal, I've put effects on the vocal, all to get it in that final end stage where you can actually match it. I'm so happy I could explain this. Now for question number 2.
What do you pay attention to when you make music?
Alright, that's a good question. Let's have a look. It's been no secret that I've been obsessed with mastering all these years, and mastering really is the final finish layer, the finishing layer of the track. But before that, what's most important is actually how well balanced your track is. In producer terms, and this has nothing to do with DJing, in producer terms this is called the mixing part of the track. And what you want is to have all elements kind of like wrestle with each other. And my go-to is to actually go back to volume leveling, where I start with the kick drum. And this is my reference for the track already. So now I want to add the clap in the solo. And say the clap is here. This is the theory. So now either the clap sounds really low or the kick sounds really loud, right? But now I kind of want them to be balanced a bit more. And maybe if you put the clap up a little bit, the clap will just sound louder now than the kick drum, right? And so I'll keep on adding all of those elements. So add the bass, for instance. And in this case, I feel the bass really needs to stand out. So if the kick and the clap is a layer on itself, then if I want the bass to stick out, I'll just put it up a little louder. And make sure to stay tuned because I'm going to give him some more bass advice as well. Alright, before we continue this vlog, before I share more of my knowledge with him, make sure to give me a like right now and hit that subscribe button as well. And let's continue. And so I'll keep on adding elements. And whenever something sounds louder than the other, then it's not really in balance, unless you want to do it on purpose. After balancing, you can start EQing, compressing, then maybe go back to volume mixing again. But this is the part that's really important before you get to the mastering part of things. If you like what you're seeing, I have an online producer course with digitaldjtips.com. It's called the Bootlegs, Mashups and Edit course. Make sure to check it out if you're interested in learning to start producing from me. As we continue this vlog for question number 3.
How do you ensure that a bass line exactly fits the melody?
Let's have a look. Alright, for this one, a totally new project, I'm just going to grab some chords so I can explain how a bass line would fit in there.
Okay.
Alright, putting these all straight on the grid. What I did here is I grabbed some chords in the key of C. And I did a little bit of a fancy in there, so the F chord doesn't really sound like a regular F chord, and the end chord of a C scale is always a G, but I just grabbed an alteration of the G to make it just to sound a little bit different. So this is kind of like a basic chord progression, but what I'd like for you to see is that within the key of C, it's funny, right? Because you have the C2 note. In the key of C, you see all notes are actually C, which means I could grab a bass line and I could do the same pattern, maybe copy paste this pattern into a bass line. Let's do that now. So if I do Command Shift M and make a new MIDI clip, just paste this over here, and I don't want it to be C2, I want it to be lower, maybe C1. Let's see how it sounds. I need to fix a few notes in timing, but you get the picture. This is just like a quick draft. Obviously, I can move all of these notes in however way, shape, or form. And so you see, whenever you have a track that's in the key of something, that means your bass line note can always be in that key without it sounding weird. But that's the basics. What the bass line actually is doing is going from tum 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 tum. And this is something I taught you a while ago, right? To do the bass line with your mouth. So let's do that. So we had that just now. Dun 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 dun. So that's this, right? Dun 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 dun. And then we want this. I know it's going to be an F chord. So I'm going to move that to F. And I know from the F I go back to C. And then the last one in the key of C is a G. And now with every key, it's different. Say you have something in the key of F, then the last note will probably be a C. It's a lot of maths, there's a lot of stuff online, but here we go into G now. Let's see how this sounds. This one note is killing me. Okay. Dun, 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 dun. Fix that. And how you get more experience in this, remake the tracks you love. So you do this with a couple of songs, like 5 songs in, remaking your favorites. You will all of a sudden see the same things happening with chords and bass lines and maybe added melody. And this is a really good exercise for you to try. Obviously, with your question, this has nothing to do with EQ and dynamics and compression and the kick and the bass and that sort of thing, or fitting the bass line into some chords. That's maybe something for a different vlog. Okay, last question in this vlog, question number 4.
My last question is, when you make music, do you watch the trends?
You know what? I love this question, and this is not really a technical question, but more of a theoretical question. I feel if you hang on too much on the current trends, that you will lose your own identity. So the challenge is you need to have a sort of an audience you make music to. So in that case, it's important to watch the trends. But you also want to be an artist and bring something artistic and maybe inspire people to like what you're doing, to like that unique thing that you are doing. When I came up, and many other artists that came up, most of the time they came up not because they were doing what everyone else was doing, but they were doing something unique and new. And I kind of always encourage people to try and have that mindset when you're making music. And a really big hack that I've told everyone over the years is, okay, say you have like a popular type of music that's really hip right now and trendy right now. How can you make the evolved version from it? How can you make the future version of everything that is popular right now? Say euphoric techno, or what you've been doing. You were making a deep house track today, or a tech house track. How can you take that sound and make it the future version, and then put in what's typically you? And what I think that you are doing that's typically you is with all the edits and all the really creative cuts in there. And I love how you're looking right now, because like this type of stuff inspires you, and that type of passion and flame that is rising up from you right now, you need to have that in the studio instead of, making what everyone else is making. And then, just try and keep on pushing that sound forward. And there we have it. 4 questions from an upcoming producer as to how, why, and all that. So thank you for being in my vlog. I really appreciate it.
No problem.
And I am super proud of you that you're producing. Make sure to check him out.
Marlon Beats on Spotify.
Instagram.
Beats by Marlon.
Beats by Marlon. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will catch you back here for the next vlog. Until then, L's up.